For the SU basketball team in 2010, it's been a tale of two halves. In the first 3 games of the regular season, the Orange have started slow, but finished fast to start the season with 3 straight wins for the 7th year in a row. Top 10 team with a ton of talent, the Orange are still trying to find their identity, and time is starting to run out. Today's test, the tribe of William and Mary, who won 10 road games last year. Second round of the Legends Classic starts next. From the Carrier Dome, it's a Sunday matinee in Syracuse. The 11th ranked team in the country hosting its second oldest university, the College of William and Mary, playing its 3rd straight road game in round 2 of the 2010 Legends Classic. Hello again, everyone. Welcome inside the Carrier Dome. Great to have you here on a Sunday afternoon. Mark Larson alongside Danny Lika. As you digest your Sunday brunch, you can digest a little Orange basketball. A 3-0 start, yes, Danny, but not necessarily an impressive one. The Orange really want to get it together with some pretty good teams coming down the stretch.
Yeah, I think the biggest opportunity here today is to fill some needs. I think they're looking for certain roles that they had completely filled a season ago. This year, maybe not the case. They're looking for that guy off the bench that can score. They're looking for consistent jump shooters and also a guy that's going to come down and make that big bucket. So those are answers they need right away because they're headed into a tough stretch of their season.
Orange coming off a win over Detroit here on Tuesday night, 66-55, a game that could have gone the other way. Yet for a couple of big performances from a couple of guys from Philly. Let's start with Rick Jackson.
Yeah, Rick Jackson's really having another solid year. Dominant down low when he catches the basketball. His low post moves are so polished now. He's really a big-time talent, going to have a great season. Then you pair him with Scoop Jardine. Scoop has really been that go-to guy. That jump shot has really made him a very diverse player, but that jump shot's vastly improved. It makes the defenses play him much more honestly.
Jardine, 27 points. Jackson, 22 rebounds against the Titans, both career highs. Now, William and Mary coming off a 22-win season last year, but they lost 3 starters off that team. Couple of guys they've got coming back, though. Kendricks Brown, their veteran guard.
Yeah, finally gets to settle into a role. There's more minutes available for Kendricks Brown, but they're going to need him to step it up in the assist department. His jump shot a little suspect. Look for Syracuse to back off him just a bit.
A team that loves to shoot the 3 ball. Everybody can shoot it, even the big guy, Marcus Kitts.
Another guy they're going to need to step up and score some points, coming off an illness, lost a little weight. Going to need him to be tough down low against a big Syracuse team.
All right, William and Mary 0-2 in their first 2 games of the year on the road. Can they get it done in their first ever trip to the Carrier Dome? They did win at Maryland, and they won at Wake last season. Now a Big East team awaits in round 2 of the Legends Classic, and it's coming up next.
Time Warner Cable Sports coverage of Syracuse University basketball is sponsored by Drivers Village. Visit driversvillage.com today. By Taco Bell. Think outside the bun. By Herb Phillipson's, outfitters for the great outdoors. And by Surgical Services at Krause Hospital. Your care in our hands.
Welcome back inside the Carrier Dome. Great to have you with us for Orange basketball. Disappointing night here last night at the Carrier Dome. The Orange football team losing its final Big East game of the regular season here to Connecticut, as the basketball team continues to get ready for the Big East season that is just about a month away from now. Let's take a look at our starting lineups, brought to you as always by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Both Brown and Kitts, as we mentioned in the open, key players, but also both suffering from ankle issues. We'll see how both are able to respond today. And their leading scorer in the first 2 games, Kyle Gaylor, double figures in his first 2 career starts for the Orange. Brandon Trish making his 39th consecutive start from nearby Janesville DeWitt High School. Chris Joseph, guy they're looking to be the star this year, 0 for 5 from the floor against Detroit Tuesday night, and he fouled out of the game, his first disqualification in an Orange uniform. Head coach of the College of William and Mary is Tony Shaver, graduate of North Carolina in 1976, his 8th year at William and Mary, 445 wins in his 25 years of college coaching. He is the reigning Colonial Athletic Association Coach of the Year. His counterpart, the reigning Big East Coach of the Year and National Coach of the Year, Jim Boeheim, in his 35th season at his alma mater, 832 wins. That is 5th on the all-time list. He's 39 behind Coach K and 45 behind Adolph Rupp. Our officiating crew from the ACC through the Legends Classic: Bill Covington, Andrew Murata, and Brian Shea. Of course, this tournament continues with the championship rounds down in Atlantic City later this week. The Orange will play Friday and Saturday. Friday night's game against the University of Michigan and former Lemoyne coach John Beilein, also former West Virginia head man. So the Wolverines and the Orange Friday night, and should the Orange win, they will play in the championship game then in Atlantic City on Saturday night. There's the freshman center, Fabrizio Paulino de Mello. He has struggled in his first 3 games as a college basketball player, and they expected some of that, although I think they thought he was going to rebound and block shots a little bit more prolifically than he has so far. Against Detroit, Fab Mello just 2 points and 2 blocks in his 15 minutes of action. And he's had a lot of trouble with fouls, and the opening tap is won by Marcus Kitts, a very high-level athlete for the Tribe, who, as you mentioned, Danny, suffered from a bout of mono in the preseason. They go to the lob, first play, Gaylord left it short as they had the man, but Gaylord brought it down, and then when he went back up with it, the defense was there to help. And now the Orange on offense attacking this 3-2 zone. The opposite of the one the Orange play. Jardine overlays on the reverse on his first shot. It's knocked out of bounds off the Tribe. Let's take a look at our keys to the game, brought to you by Herb Phillipson, outfitters for the great outdoors. Danny.
We talked about the roles that are available. Time for someone to pluck that sign off the window and step up and seize hold of that, especially bench play. They need some points off the bench. Sightseeing Syracuse, no secret, they struggled from the outside. Defenses have backed off. Need to hone in the sights here tonight. And then triple scoop. Who doesn't love a triple scoop? Scoop on quite a roll. Ride that hot hand if you're the Orange.
They needed every one of his career-high 27 points Tuesday night against Detroit. He also had 8 assists and 5 steals to match a career best. Scoop almost single-handedly bailing the Orange out. Offensive foul called away from the ball. That was called by Billy Covington, so go the other way. Correction, it was a 3-second violation Covington called, so either way a turnover to the Orange, who have been very cold from the floor in their first 3 halves of the year. And that went in and out of the hands of Fab Mello.
That 1-2-2 zone is Syracuse, something they don't see every day, so they're going to have to get a few runs at it to know how to dissect said zone. But the Tribe hanging in early on the backboards, if they have any chance, that's one area they'll have to key in.
Outside, McDowell's 3 is off, and it's ripped down by Rick Jackson. This team loves to shoot the 3. 295 three-pointers last year for the Tribe. That is 8th best in the nation in that category. Joseph fouled on the way to the basket, and Chris will head to the free throw line, and the crowd will have to continue to stand as they wait for the first SU basket.
You see, he's very strong off the dribble there. They play off him just a bit, not respecting his shot yet, but he's able to use some good body positioning and get around and get a look at the basket.
You see Joseph's numbers, 9 points per game. A little more than 3 points per game less than last year when he was the Big East 6th man of the year coming off the bench. So still adjusting to that starting role as Joseph has the first. Here, pin drop in here right now. Two for 2 for Chris Joseph. And interesting, against Detroit, he scored the first 3 points all on free throws and did not score again. Again, 0 for 5 from the floor in that game, which is why he's probably going to be taking it to the basket as much as possible here to get himself going. Far side of that zone, McDowell almost lost it. Now the pull-up by Brown, nothing but air. Saved by Kitts, right to Scoop Jardine. 1-on-2. Now Joseph arrives, A little bit too strong, got it back, takes it up strong, and he's fouled. Count the basket. Joseph has his first field goal in 2 games, and all 4 points so far.
Good job staying with the shot. Joseph strong on the backboard here, takes it, nice little jab step, backs the defense off, and then goes with the right-hand dribble, able to body up, draw the foul, chance for a 3-point play.
Three for 3 at the free throw line for Joseph, whose struggles have been pretty evident in the first 2 games. In fact, he's not the only one. I mean, the whole team is having a hard time putting the ball in the basket. Talking to Coach Rob Murphy, one of the assistants before the game, said, you know what, these guys make almost every shot in practice, and in warmups, he's right. You watch him, and you can't imagine they'd have these problems. Good job by Kitts, somehow working it over Fab Mello, and off glass for the Tribe's first 2.
Good head fake, and gets Mello a little bit off his feet, not able to set, and then he uses a nice hook shot.
Joseph short on the 3, back come the Tribe quickly. McDowell had it knocked away from behind. And the Tribe will keep it as the first substitution. Fab Mello out by Musakita in for Syracuse, a freshman replacing one at the center position. Kita has been a very pleasant surprise, I think, so far. With 15 rebounds in the Orange second game against Canisius. 15 rebounds in 17 minutes as he has his first already here off the bench. Jardine picking up where he left off Tuesday night. Hits his first shot, and the Orange up 6.
Great movement, Trish over Joseph, and they find Jardine, who catches in rhythm. He can continue to make those shots, just going to make him an impossible player to defend. He's great off the dribble. That jump shot just opens up a world of options.
An illegal screen called out top by Andrew Murata. And the Tribe turn it over once again, and a bad start for William and Mary in their 3rd consecutive road game, played at Virginia, at Richmond, and now at Syracuse. On the plus side, they will return home after this game and play 3 straight in 3 days, as a matter of fact, at home this weekend in the sub-regional round of the Legends Classic. Rick Jackson knocks down a free throw line shot. And the Orange starting to put those first half shooting woes behind them. Just 28% in the first half this year and 55% from the floor in the second half.
But a good mix in and out. And yeah, absolutely. You talk about the ability to make those in practice. You need, when you hit them in the games, the confidence level will rise. But if you start missing the early ones, then you start pressing a little bit.
Steal out top. Trish to the basket. And that's a way to build that field goal percentage up. A layup in. 4 different players have scored for the Orange. The timeout called by Tony Shaver. And a quick 10-point lead for Syracuse. A fast start, something we haven't seen yet out of this team.
And this is where Syracuse will really thrive, is the fast break game. This sets the tempo for all their offense. You see here Trish out ahead. They create that steal high. And then you get Trish running in the lanes, fills it nicely. Syracuse loves to run. The rest of the offense will thrive if they can continue this tempo.
And that's another thing Coach Murphy was talking to me about, the slow starts in the first half. You have to remember that Brandon Trish and Rick Jackson are the only 2 guys who really started with regularity out there for the Orange. You got 3 new starters out there, and especially guys like Jardine and Joseph, who were so good at coming off the bench last year. Maybe it takes them a little while to get going. So I said, well, why don't you do an opening tip before your warm-ups? So they think that's kind of the first half, and when they come out for the start of the game, you think it might be the second half. As Kitts trying to jam it home. Joseph fouled him. And free throws upcoming for Marcus. So 7 of the Orange, 12 points off turnovers. And a quick start. Defense leading to offense. And a double-digit lead for the 11th ranked Cuse as they get set to head down to Atlantic City this weekend. Back at the Carrier Dome, 4th straight home game for the Orange, who will head off to Atlantic City for games Friday and Saturday to conclude the Legends Classic, then back home for a pretty big non-conference game, couple of them, with Cornell and North Carolina State, before heading down to Madison Square Garden for that monster matchup with Michigan State, the 2nd-ranked team in the country, at Madison Square Garden. That's December 7th. So we talked about how they have some pretty big games coming up on the schedule. And you know, teams like William and Mary, teams that they're kind of expected to have a pretty easy time with. These games are running out. So if you want to find yourself, this would be a good time to do it. Marcus Kitts, good at the free throw line. Missed 3.5 weeks of preseason practice. Tony Shaver said that really put him behind the 8 ball as far as conditioning goes. I mentioned his weight is down 10 or 15 pounds, his stamina. And he turned an ankle in practice this week, but he's out there. These guys wouldn't miss their first game at the Carrier Dome. Heard about it. Even the coach had never been here before. An experience that these guys will savor, at least at some point in their lives. Right away after the game. If the score's not in their favor, they may not. One's really coming out, defending that 3, extending that zone out across the 3-point arc. They try to go inside, and Joseph knocked it away. Now Jackson on the floor. A jump ball call. Possession arrow belongs to Syracuse.
Great hustle by Joseph. He's out on the wing defending a potential 3, then gets back to his position down low in the zone, comes up with the steal there.
Couple substitutions for the College of William and Mary. John Mark Ludwig, their best pure shooter, out on the floor, number 33, and also a freshman, part of a heralded freshman class. For the coach, Tony Shaver. Vogtner out of Indiana, out on the floor. Julian Vogtner. He and Brown in the backcourt now. Three on the way, and Vogtner right off the bench and into the scorebook.
Good job reversing the basketball, finding the open shooter. He had a lot of time to set up. Makes that corner jump shot look easy.
One of 2 freshmen in this class from Bloomington, Indiana, home of the Hoosiers. Vogtner actually started in the Indiana All-Star game as a senior. So, you know, this kid has some basketball in his blood. Last touch by the Tribe. Off the miss by Trish. Fab Mello back in. Joseph Kita out. James Sutherland also in off the bench. So the last 4 points scored by the Tribe to make this a 6-point game. James Sutherland on the way. And not a good start for James, who was 1 for 9 from the floor against Detroit. Knocked away by Trish. Tribe get it back down on the floor. Another jump ball this time. It'll stay with the Tribe. Marcus Kitts went down to get it. Rick Boeheim celebrated a birthday last week. Last Wednesday, his 66th. Happy birthday, Coach. Vogtner just looking for a screen out top, but the Orange really extending as Waiters coming in off the bench, replacing Brandon Trish. A pretty heralded freshman class for the Orange, of course, as well. Top 5 in the country. Waiters, Mello, Kita, and it's C.J. Fairs. That 3's off from Ludwig. And Waiters has another guy who had a tough night against the Titans Tuesday. Extra pass. Sutherland the rebound.
Last 2 trips down in Syracuse, they appear to be settling for outside shots. A matchup zone here, and these are certainly a difficult defense to dissect. You like to spread the floor and force them into a man-on-man situation. And Syracuse maybe having a hard time recognizing that. Don't see that all the time.
Aggressive move by Jackson. He's trying to add that little mid-range jumper to his repertoire this year. That one a little off. As C.J. Fair gets set to check in. That one's going to be tapped off Syracuse. Belong to the Tribe with 17 to shoot. Fair in, Jackson out. So 3 freshmen in that class are in, along with Jardine and Sutherland. Heldring also in for the Tribe. Remember their freshman class, that is the top class in the Colonial Athletic Association. Tough conference, always good, solid mid-major teams in there. Kendricks Brown fouled by Waiters on the way to the hoop. Old Dominion, the pick to win that conference this year. VCU right behind him. And actually the Tribe all the way down in 8th place in their preseason poll. And Tony Shaver, though, talked to him before the game. He said, you know what, by the end of this year, I think we could be pretty good. Everybody makes the conference tournament, so you make that, you win a few games, and you're NCAA bound.
Well, Brown, a kid that's going to gain a lot more minutes in the starting role this season. You saw a good explosive first step. Drew the foul, got himself on the foul line.
He's struggling early. 1 of 8 from the floor in his first 2 games, as he's got 1 out of 2 at the line.
You see the zone. The key, you have to spread the floor and force them into a man-against-man situation. And that should open up the middle of the floor. If you can allow them to stay tight, that's where they're going to be effective and create turnovers and do a good job on the backboards.
Jardine threw it away. Ludwig the steal for William and Mary. And the Orange now a little bit of a drought. Jardine rather takes it right back from Ludwig to the basket. A little bit too strong. And Ludwig the rebound.
Got to be impressed with the way the Tribe is giving Syracuse fits on the glass. Really doing a good job sealing out, keeping Syracuse to 1 shot.
Since that timeout, and the Orange were up 12-2, they have not scored now. Actually, William and Mary winning the rebounding battle. Now 10-8 as Ludwig got the offensive rebound and put it back.
Yeah, they've got some guys that know how to play fundamental basketball on the backboard. You see the rebounds there. Our statistician, Mark Hucko, all over it. Even though it's a 2 o'clock tip on a Sunday, he's wide awake.
So 7 straight points scored by the Tribe. Mello, a held ball as he went inside. Ludwig stuffed him. Orange will keep possession, but quite a drought they're facing now. Just a 3-point lead here, about halfway through the half.
Time Warner Cable Sports coverage of Syracuse University basketball is sponsored by your local Toyota dealer. Toyota, a smart way to keep moving forward. By your local Nationwide insurance agents. Nationwide is on your side. By Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. By Green & Reed, personal injury attorneys. It's time for Green & Reed. And by Northside Collision Centers.
Orange have gone almost 5 minutes without scoring a point.
Yeah, the zone, matchup zone, giving them fits. Absolutely. Going to have to do a better job moving without the basketball. Get them to chase. Right now, they're allowing them to stay home. They're allowing William Mary to stay home, stay tight. That's why they're doing a good job on the backboards against Syracuse. The key to that matchup zone, again, get them to chase. Make them make decisions. Create the confusion. Because if they're allowed to stay tight, they're playing right into the strength of the defense.
A little confusion there in the inbound. The referees thought it was Tribe basketball, but after the held ball, possession arrow was pointing in favor of Syracuse. So it is Orange ball. That's Trish Jardine in the backcourt. Or Trish and Waiters, rather. Jardine to the bench for the first time today. Sutherland will take it. Front rim. James starting out 0 for 2. As his shooting woes continue. And Coach Boeheim blasting his guys after the Tuesday night game, saying I can make those shots. As Fair swats it out of bounds. We'll talk about his guys making them in practice. He said, I don't want to hear about that. If you can't make them in a game, you're not a college basketball player.
Fair with some good ups, good job running to the basketball.
That's the problem. The more you don't make the shot, the more you try to steer it.
Yep.
You try to aim it in there. That's just not the way it's going to get it done. Open in the corner, Boatner. Almost half the Tribe's shots last year were for three-point range. Almost half.
Oh, they're going down. Obviously, that reaps major dividends.
Fair was fouled on the way to the basket.
To get back to the shooting, when you start to press, I mean, a jump shooter, you start struggling, you've got to go back to the basic things that give you a confident feel in your mind. You start maybe it's holding your follow through a little bit longer. Maybe it's really focusing more on your technique. Whatever your comfort zone is, you have to get back to the basics and then get yourself on a roll. But when you start pressing, some of those things tend to go out the window, and you put too much pressure on the shot. That certainly affects the percentages.
Well, you can survive when these things are happening against Detroit and William and Mary, but when you get into the Big East season or even into the meat of this non-conference season, you can't shoot like the Orange have been shooting.
Good team's going to jump on them and get out to a big lead, and then you're fighting from behind, which is never a good scenario. But Syracuse trying to change tempo clearly here with the pressure defense. A lot of good athletes on the floor.
Mookie Jones off the bench for the first time. Another guy trying to get a shot going as the Orange have finally broken a nearly 6-minute drought with those 2 free throws by Fair.
They want to run in a bad way. They don't want to allow that defense to set up. They want to get out in transition and break that defense down that way.
From inside, blocked from behind. Now Kitts just kind of took too long with it, and help arrive. And look at that, 0 for 7 in this stretch, 0 for 8 now. And Syracuse right about 25% for the half. With 9 minutes left, take another look at the defensive effort, though.
Yeah, Kitts went up, didn't know the defense was coming. I think better off going with that opposite hand to create the seal for Syracuse to commit the foul there. He just kind of took that one for granted, but they're doing a good job dissecting the defense.
Well, the CAA, Kitts is probably going to stuff that with no problem, but
good point.
In the Big East, a different level of athlete.
The Big East, it's a question whether that's in the front row or the back row.
Another block shot. C.J. Fair providing a defensive spark off the bench. And that's the thing, you know, Scoop was actually saying in the locker room the other day, as these kids come in, they think they've got to be part of the offense. That's not what they need. They need them to come in and make the energy plays off the bench, the block shots, the steals, the rebounds, and then the offense will come.
Yeah,
CJ was listening.
He seems to be that guy that Syracuse always seems to have each other. That's kind of that stat monger. You know, he collects assists and rebounds and blocks, and not a ton of each, but enough to make a big difference. And that time, the block shot.
Very Josh Pace-like in a lot of ways. Even the same number.
Yep.
And the left-handed shot. There's Mookie. Front rim. Offensive rebound. Kita. Another. Sutherland finally.
Good job working the backboards. The rebound comes out long to the weak side. Syracuse attacks well, and that's a big bucket there.
You can almost feel the sigh of relief. They get it in. It's almost like there's a lid on it, and it has been that way in the first half all season. Jones got his hand on one. Waiters to the hole. Count it. Dion Waiters. Well, fired up.
How about the body control? Mookie not known for his defense, but that time he creates the transition.
Another look at the fabulous freshman from Philly, plus the foul.
Time Warner Cable Sports coverage of Syracuse University basketball is sponsored by MVP Healthcare, helping kids and families get up, out, and active, and have fun doing it. By Sun Auto Warehouse, the used car king. By Oneida Savings Bank, your link to a brighter future. And by Bailey, Haskell, and Lalonde and BCG Benefit Consulting Group. New partners, new solutions.
Jim Boeheim working hard, getting this team together. A lot of young talent on this team, but still trying to find out who they are, and everybody trying to find their role within this team. There was so many guys playing. You know, five guys obviously starting, but you know, 7, 8, 9, 10 guys playing per game. Everyone kind of has to know what's expected of them when they come in. And so that'll take some time, but the Orange on a little bit of a run here, 6-0. And another steal, 6th of the game. Waiters, another layup.
How about that one step? He just pulls right away from the defense and off the made basket, pressure defense.
And the points off turnovers, 11-0 in favor of Syracuse. Finally, a 3 goes down for the Tribe. Quinn McDowell, a tremendous shooter. One of 4 guys that are back from last year that shot 49% from the floor, 40% from three-point range, and 80% from the free throw line. Only 6 guys did it last year. Tim Abramitis and Austin Freeman in the Big East were 2 of them. Waiters is feeling it.
Yep. He's got to get back on defense. See, Coach talking to him. That was his assignment on that made 3. He makes the shot, hustles back.
7 straight points for Syracuse, scored by number 3, Dion Waiters. Went 1 for 6 against Detroit Tuesday night. The Waiters tonight 3 for 3. Couple of layups and the 3. McDowell trying to answer, and he does. Quinn McDowell hit his last 2 threes and a quick timeout called by Jim Boeheim. Reaching defense, defense, yep. Defense. Well, tune into Channel 577 for Time Warner Cable Sports On Demand, presented by McDonald's, where digital customers can see this and many other games and events for free. Choose from scholastic, collegiate, or professional events. Time Warner Cable Sports Video On Demand, Channel 577, presented by McDonald's. Sports coverage when you want it. The College of William & Mary, 22-11 last season, 3rd most wins in school history, a school that's been around for quite a while. As you see a baseball pitcher in our presence, Mark Lukashevitz, former Chiefs pitcher, among the courtside participants here this afternoon.
He had a few sips in the majors. I think Padres, if I'm not mistaken, I think that's where he spent a good deal of time. Real nice guy. Hot stove starting to heat up a little bit.
You ready, huh?
Where is Cliff Lee going to end up?
It's not the Yankees. Everyone's shocked. Mookie Jones out of the timeout. Bangs one home.
Yeah, he's really making a name for himself now. Everybody knows he can shoot, and he proved it there. But on the defensive end, he's playing solid.
Well, Syracuse lost its 2 best shooters as McDowell. That is NBA and then some. Woo, 3 for 3. His last 3 attempts, all from deep. For Quinn McDowell, just single-handedly keeping the Tribe in it.
The stroke is just droid-like. It's absolutely picture perfect, and you have to credit William & Mary, their ability to move the ball and get it to the open shooter. A heck of a shooter. Syracuse struggling to find him defensively.
And they have not been rattled by the superior athleticism of some of these Syracuse players. Even talking to Coach Shaver before the game, he was just kind of gazing around at the Carrier Dome. He said they worked out at the Mello Center last night. And he even seemed a little misty-eyed, saying, you know what, boy, they just have so much here. You know, almost as green as the uniforms. His face was turning when he was talking about how much Syracuse has and looking at the athletes. He said, boy, they're big, aren't they? And, you know, but his players kept their focus here. And they're still in this one. Down 10, yes. But the way the Orange have been playing here in spurts in the first half, it could be up a lot more.
They're giving Syracuse fits defensively, and this is a great learning experience for the younger players who haven't been on the court a great deal.
8 turnovers already for William & Mary, though. A team that was one of the best in the country at protecting the basketball last year. I mentioned they lost 3 starters, though, and that included their starting backcourt. McDowell had to readjust, and that threw him off just enough. But finally missed from out there. Now Joseph, quick little dribble to the basket. Too strong. It's last touched by Syracuse. And just under 5 minutes left in the first half. The Tribe will get it back.
Dell's fun to watch. Fundamentals are in line big time. You saw the head fake. He missed a shot, but when that defender's coming out like that, you have to give the head fake. There's no way they can settle themselves and block that shot. Give them the head fake. Let them go by.
Ludwig will try one. John Mark off the mark that time, and Joseph with the rebound. Fab Mello back in, clearing the lane out, collects the errant pass, and a foul called. So Mello will head to the free throw line. Fab Mello, 13 fouls in his first 3 collegiate appearances. He's fouled out of his first 2 games. Still trying to learn that zone, and you know, Rob Murphy's saying it takes some time. It takes guys maybe a year to learn that zone. It's not as easy as just, you know, staying in one spot. And Fab is obviously still has a lot to learn in that regard. And as far as the rebounding totals go, another point Murphy brings up is that Syracuse centers have never, almost never, led the team in rebound. It's always the forwards because the ball bounces out. And if you think about the zone, the center's always underneath. The ball's going to bounce to one side or the other. So it's always been guys like Rick Jackson and Wes Johnson last year, and you know, Derek Coleman and guys like that.
Reason. And there's also another reason to go along with it. They've had centers that are good shot blockers. When you commit to the block, you better hope somebody's there to clean up the loose change. In Syracuse, there's another reason why the forwards lead this team.
So he says if Fab Mello gets 5 rebounds in a game, he's probably doing his job as Kitts drops one over Fab again.
Another thing, it's like an offense. It's like a defensive, a nose tackle. You try to absorb as many players as you can, and that's the center's role too in the zone when they turn and seal. Try to get a couple of bodies, let the forward come in and clean up the loose ball.
Fair missing with the left hand. Rebounded by the Tribe. One shot and done for Syracuse. Mass substitutions getting set to come in. That one goes in off the bounce. Julian Bodner, his second 3 from the same spot. Freshmen all sorts of fired up. Jim Boeheim calls time, and he's giving Fab the stare down right now.
It was a 10-point lead, and it kind of lulled me to sleep a bit. Now it's 5, so William & Mary chipping away. But I'm very impressed with their job on the backboards. I thought they'd be very overmatched, but they're hanging in there.
One of our guests at halftime, John Wallace. They're talking with athletic director Dale Gross, among others. Here courtside this afternoon, John Wallace connected with this Legends Classic tournament. And we'll speak with the Orange Legend at the half. And you mentioned the job on the backboards. Rebounding totals 18-15 in favor of the College of William & Mary. His tallest player is 6'9". Syracuse with Fab Mello at 7 feet. Rick Jackson 6'11". Jackson at 22 rebound performance on Tuesday night. Back-to-back games he's set new career highs. Jardine short on a little runner. Jackson had the offensive rebound go through his legs and into the hands of Ludwig. So now with a 5-point lead, the Orange hanging on with under 3 to go. Matt Rum plus the foul. What a shot. The whole College of William & Mary bench is up right now.
That's some spiced rum, huh? Great move.
I say. But that's his first field goal attempt. He picks his spots well. He drew the foul on Fab, and he'll head to the free throw line. Stay tuned for the Orange Halftime Show, powered by Dunkin' Donuts. We'll have an interview with John Wallace, as we just mentioned, third all-time leading scorer at Syracuse University. Also highlights and stats. That's coming up in just a few minutes. Right now, the Tribe on a 7-0 run. Matt Rum can make it 8. Former Duke ball boy as a kid. Matt got to be around guys like Shane Battier and those types. Year 2000, the Duke Blue Devils.
Bobby Hurley year.
Was Bobby there then? It seems like that was after him, but he could have been there. A foul called here. That is the 8th team foul on William and Mary, so 1-1.
Duke is Duke.
Jay Williams was there then?
I don't think it matters the year. There's somebody great there.
Yeah. Well, you know who else was there? Coach K, of course. So Matt Rum got to be around he and others. And Matt Rum, not a field goal in his first 2 games. How about the first one of the season? 2 plus the foul. He was not able to complete that 3-point play, but exciting moment for the youngster from Baltimore, Maryland. Jackson has the front end. Three points, 3 rebounds in the first half for Rick. Averaging 14 and 14 in the first 3 games. Orange by 5. They've led by as many as 10 twice. William and Mary not letting Syracuse get away. First meeting between these 2 schools. Both have been around for more than 100 years. McDowell takes it inside and scores. Well, Quinn's not one-dimensional, is he?
Not at all. And Mello, obviously a learning curve, a smaller player coming at you with the dribble. Rather indecisive there, and he took advantage.
And now McDowell helping out defensively, knocks it away on the interior pass. And another chance to tie for the Tribe. That one thrown away, though, by the freshman Boatner. 4-on-2 for the Orange. Trish, nice catch.
Gorgeous. Underneath the basket, somehow reaches back with the left and throws it up off the window, gets the roll. And that's Syracuse's game. They need to find a way to stay consistently in transition.
Inside Kipps goes underneath the basket, but travel. Marcus Kitts showing some pretty good stamina, though, for a guy who had some mono issues and also a sprained ankle, but he's been in most of this first half. Turnovers now 10-3 in favor of Syracuse. Orange would love to get that lead back into double digits before the half, but Rum stepped in front of that one. Saw it coming all the way. Orange get back defensively.
Good high screen.
Tough pass. Good catch by McDowell. Gets it back to Rum. Bang! Matt Rum heating up.
Yep, that's great recognition on the defense. They respect the jump shot. McDowell, fundamentally sound drive and dish. And Rum ready again on the catch.
3 points in his first 2 games. He's got 5 here in the last couple minutes here at the Carrier Dome. A 2-point lead for the Orange. About an 8-second differential between the game clock and shot clock. Trish. Back rim, Jardine offensive rebound. Quickly! Alley-oop is missed by Jackson. And now the Tribe will have a chance to take the lead.
And just maybe there, a lack of awareness, the situation on the shot clock. You see Coach Boeheim pointing to the clock. Had a chance to hold for the last one. And boy, there's going to be some ears getting chewed at the break here.
Well, they should be used to this by now. The Orange have probably gotten an earful in each of the first 3 halftimes of the season. And no doubt they will again here. As another first half, boy, it seemed at times where they were going to put together a strong first half showing for the lead. Front rim, McDowell. Now a little bit too late by Jardine at the buzzer. And the Orange will head to the break with just a 2-point advantage over the College of William and Mary, a team that is 0-2 and that is averaging 50 points a game in its first 2 outings. They've had a little bit easier time here so far in Syracuse. The Orange gracious guests, our hosts rather. Welcome to today's Orange Halftime Show, powered by Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. Syracuse leading by a very slim margin here, 32-30 is our score at halftime. The Orange leading the College of William & Mary. This is the Legends Classic, as we all know, and we're now joined by one of the legends of the game, John Wallace, third all-time leading scorer here at Syracuse, and a guy that made it all the way to the Final Four in 1996, and I was actually there for that run. Good to see you, John. How are you?
Good to see you, man. Thanks. Appreciate it.
Tell me about the honor here. What does this mean to you?
It just it solidifies the hard work and the blood, sweat, and tears that I left up here at Syracuse, and it's a great award to receive.
And obviously, you've been a big part of this program. How much are you still involved with it?
I bleed orange, so I talk to all the guys on the team all the time. So. And we got to get it together here. We're only up by 2. We haven't been playing good the last couple first halves. We got to get ready for Big East basketball. So that's the most important thing. We got to get our team back in order, because last year we weren't picked to do much, and we've ended up really good. And this year we're picked to do a lot. We're not starting out so well. So we got to get on track.
What do you think the problem is? What do you see out there? What's going on?
We got a lot of new guys, when you got a lot of new faces on the team, you got to get that cohesiveness going. So it's tough right now. You got a lot of young guys playing, and everyone's got to kind of find their way, find their role, and we'll be all right. Coach always, he's gonna make it all right.
All right, let's take a little trip down memory lane. We've got a little footage of you. It doesn't seem that long ago. It really wasn't. But when you look at the uniforms, it looks like it was longer than it really was. So, obviously you had the 96 year where you kind of put the team on your shoulders and took them to the Final Four. How much do you look back on those days and talk to some of these guys?
I talk to all my guys from that team. Obviously Lazarus is still a coach up here, so I talk to him all the time. Todd Bergen and Jason Sapola, I talk to them all the time. So we had a very, very close team. More than being a talented team, so to speak. We're a very, very close-knit team, and we won because of our camaraderie off the court and on the court. Yeah,
that was a team that really wasn't expected to go as far as you guys, all the way to the championship game.
Yeah, that's the only game I've never watched. The game we lost to Kentucky. It's a tough game, obviously, but you give us another game, I think we can win that game if I don't foul out. That's just unfortunate I fouled out of that game.
It was a terrific run, and now you've got a youngster coming up. We're looking to maybe follow a little bit in the old man's footsteps. Tell me about your young guy. What's he doing?
He's a senior now in high school, and we're getting some looks from some Division I schools, some Division II schools. Not sure if we're going to go to college next year or do a year of prep school.
Okay. Any chance he could end up in a Syracuse uniform someday?
I wish, but realistically, he's not there yet.
Yeah.
It could happen, but right now it's not. We're thinking of other things.
Well, maybe he'll get to play a game here anyway against Syracuse.
I hope so. It'd be incredible.
Are you going to go down to Atlantic City next weekend?
I'll be there, absolutely.
All right, just to watch the game, or maybe something else too?
A little bit of everything. It's AC, baby. It's our East Coast version of Vegas.
Always good to see you, John. Thanks for being with us. Congratulations on the award.
Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, one of the legends of the game here, John Wallace, among the legends here at Syracuse University, taking a look at the Orange, up by just 2 here at the half. Thanks, John. Back at the Carrier Dome, the Orange, another tight first half, getting another halftime pep talk from their head coach as they lead the Tribe of the College of William & Mary 32-30, 20 minutes in. Let's take a look at the halftime highlights brought to you by MVP Healthcare's innovative plans and unique health and wellness programs at joinmvp.com. It was a pretty quick start for the Orange. They jumped out to a 12-2 lead early. Looked like this one could get away.
Big time. They're out in transition, doing the things that they do well, but William & Mary, give them credit. That defense really buckled down, and offensively they were extremely sharp.
Fast break points heavily in favor of Syracuse, as well as points off turnovers. Dion Waiters, a big spark off the bench, scored 7 straight points for the Orange. But give the Tribe some credit despite all of their mistakes in this first half. They put together a pretty nice little run at the end of the half, started hitting from outside. Quinn McDowell hit 3 straight from downtown, including one as well beyond NBA range. This was the second one. Take a look at the third one if we've got it. There it is. That's deep. So Quinn McDowell keeping a minute, and then Matt Rum, a couple of big buckets.
Yeah, Matt Rum played a really solid first half here. They find Rum at the top of the key. You see he draws the defense up, little skip pass out. Rum ready on the catch, and they bury it.
All right, here are the halftime stats brought to you by Green and Reed, personal injury attorneys. It's time for Green and Reed. The field goal percentage for the Orange once again down there a little bit.
Yeah, struggling from the field. They settled for some jump shots, but 35% considering how many layups they had. That's not a great half shooting the ball at all.
Well, they had 5 blocked shots and 7 steals. They forced 10 turnovers, but they got out-rebounded, and they're still not shooting it well. Do you see them trying to aim it in there or steer it in there?
Well, I think the defense, that matchup zone is really creating a lot of confusion. And I mentioned they're settling for jump shots. They're not catching the ball in rhythm. So obviously the second half, the key, move the basketball, spread the floor, find the open shooter. Sometimes the way to break out of a slump is getting easy buckets around the basket, holding your follow through. They need to do something to straighten out the confidence levels. They're much too good of shooters to be struggling this way.
Now on the other side, give a lot of credit to the College of William & Mary. Their first trip to the Carrier Dome, they've fallen behind by 10 twice, and they battle back.
Yeah, they showed a tremendous amount of poise. Everybody knows they're outgunned, but they've hung in there, and it's been fundamental basketball. It's been driving to the basket, finding the open shooters, sealing on the backboards. To me, that's the most impressive facet of this game, is the way William & Mary is outmatching Syracuse on the backboards.
And that's a team with 1 senior on the roster. So these are a bunch of young guys coming up to Syracuse and having a good time, at least in the first half. Now the Orange have been a second half team this season. We'll see if it continues. The William & Mary Tribe have given the Orange everything they could handle here in the first half. 32-30, Syracuse with the lead. Now win or lose, Syracuse does advance into the championship round next week of the Legends Classic, so never fear. Time Warner Cable Sports is also picking up all of the games down there, both doubleheaders on Friday and Saturday, so you can stick around here for that. Now the Orange will play Michigan on Friday night. About an 8 o'clock start, says 7:30 there, but figure about 8 o'clock. And then should they win that game, they would advance to the championship on Saturday night against either Georgia Tech or UTEP. Now last year's winner, the Florida Gators. The year before that, it was the Pitt Panthers, so Syracuse can be the second Big East team in 3 years to be legendary in Atlantic City. That's next week. They've got the Tribe to worry about first. Quinn McDowell leading all scorers here at halftime with his 11 points for the Tribe of the College of William & Mary. Freshman Julian Boatner with a couple of threes has 6. Rum and Kitts with 5 apiece. For the Orange, 2 guys with 7, Joseph and Dion Waiters. He scored those 7 points consecutively. As we get set for the second half, and the Orange coming out of the locker room with their ears a little blistered for the 4th game in a row. Look at that. Syracuse, 140 points they've scored in the second half this year, just 80 in the first half in the first 3 games. They've shot 55% in the second half versus 28 in the first, and from 3-point range, 47% in the second half as Kitts works inside and ties it up at 32.
Does a good job using, he's giving away size, but he does a good job using his body to seal. And a little lost it up over the defense, that little baby hook.
And Kita in at the scorer's table, immediately getting set to check in as Jardine breaks the lead again. The first tie since 0-0. And Jardine has broken it with the 3. A good start out of the locker room. McDowell, couple of bounces, including one off the top of the backboard. Just about got it to drop. Mello with the rebound.
It's a good thing Mello grabbed that ball. He might have got another bounce.
Lob to Joseph. Well, the offense has woken up.
Well, you push the ball, try to get it in the paint. That draws the 2 defenders up. No secret there. Good job by Trish.
Just a little connection with the eyes. Just a look is all it takes. And Trish found Chris Joseph sailing down the baseline. Jardine almost forcing another turnover. Tribe committed 10 in the first half. Nice feed inside, and Kitts up and in again.
He's got great touch. He uses his lower body, gives a little bump, backs the defense off, and again, that baby hook, very effective.
And Quinn McDowell driving baseline to find him there. Jardine left wide open. Front rib Jackson, offensive rebound, missed it. And Rum on the other end outduels Fab Mello for the board. Keita still at the scores table waiting for a dead ball. There's one. So Mello out, Keita in. I think Coach Boeheim is happy with the way Kitts has been scoring over Fab. Take another look at the lob to Chris Joe. One of the great personalities in that locker room, Chris Joseph. Haven't seen him in a new winter hat this year. He had the crazy Canadian kind of hunting cap that he found somewhere. He'd been wearing last year. Haven't seen the replacement yet. Hasn't been cold enough yet, but it's getting there. Chris, baseline, double clutch and in.
And that first step, he's by you before you can even figure out who has the basketball. Just explosive, him and Scoop. Good chemistry.
Kick ball by Scoop. Out of bounds to the Tribe, so the Orange is scoring on all their possessions, I believe, here in the second half, but defensively haven't been able to lock down the Tribe yet. Thrown away, Keita right at his feet. Jardine behind the back. Whoa, to Jackson. Jardine to Jackson, the Philly combo. Couple of highlight reel alley-oops here in the second half. Let's see if that rattles the Tribe a bit. Timeout, Tony Shaver, as the crowd starts to awaken. I'll put down the hash browns. It's time to watch some Showtime hoops. The Orange are heating up at the Dome. Join Time Warner Cable Sports for Syracuse Sidelines with Coach Doug Marone, and pretty soon Coach Boeheim as well. Every Thursday night, 7 o'clock. Go inside the SU football and basketball programs with players, coaches, special features, and previews on Time Warner Cable Sports. Coach Boeheim having to work a little bit harder than maybe he would like to on a Sunday afternoon. The Orange out to a 7-point lead. They've led by as many as 10 twice in the first half, but the Tribe have hung close. Some timely outside shooting. It's a pretty tough inside play from Kitts. They tried to lob it to him, but Keita got there first. Jackson inside, reverses.
You and I spoke during the break. With Musa Keita in there, I think it's much more difficult to actually get the ball into the paint. You see there, athletic play takes away the lob on the weak side.
Big smile on the face of Scoop Jardine. Nobody on that team has more fun playing the game than Antonio Scoop Jardine, as the foul called inside on Rick Jackson. That is his first.
Good dribble penetration there. They just don't seem, William & Mary doesn't seem fazed by any of the events of Syracuse. They go on a run. You don't see any heads hanging. They just come right back and try and execute.
Well, this is a team, granted not all the guys on this team were there, but they won at Maryland and Wake Forest back-to-back games last year. In fact, they're the only visiting team to win at Maryland as Kitts airballs the free throw, and he's going to hear about that one.
I think Kitts is the type of, he could stand there and take 100 shots and not do that again.
Trying to stifle the smile as he heads to the bench. And
he's getting it over there, I tell you.
Yep. Anyway, this team has proven it can win in tough environments, at least in the past. That was that year's team. This is this year's. Joseph front rim. The Orange starting out hot from the field, and because most of that has been inside. A couple alley-oop dunks, and a layup by Jackson, and one by Trish.
Jackson well aware on that weak side. McDowell is lurking, so he's going to run baseline, and he draws attention. Good communication between Jackson and Joseph along the baseline to track down that shooter.
Blocking foul called on Brandon Trish out top. The Orange now with two team fouls here in the opening minutes of the second half. Starting to pull away, and the Tribe led them.
Time Warner Cable Sports coverage of Syracuse University basketball is sponsored by Geico. 15 minutes could save you 15% on car insurance. Visit geico.com or call 1-800-947-AUTO. By Dunkin' Donuts. America runs on Dunkin'. By Green & Reed, personal injury attorneys. It's time for Green & Reed. And by Community General Hospital, the #1 ranked hospital in New York for orthopedics. SU basketball and Community General Hospital, the best keeps getting better.
Right back to action here. Another lob inside. That one broken up. Two SU players in there at the same time. Kita and Joseph battling for it, and goes back to the Tribe. That's just the 4th turnover of the game committed by Syracuse. Make it 5. Still a low number. The reason they haven't built a bigger lead, though, poor shooting again in the first half. Long over Kita, the floater. Wow. How'd that guy not hit a field goal in his first 2 games? 0 for 9 against Richmond and Virginia. Rum is 3 out of 4 here against the Orange. Second half shooting quite a bit better again. Just as we say it, Joseph puts one off the back rim.
Yeah, he's still trying to find himself offensively this season. They're going to need a big year out of him if they're going to be near the top of the conference. So he needs to start focusing, knocking down shots. You mentioned tough schedule down the stretch. Or moving forward, I should say, and Joseph's going to need to step it up, be a big factor.
John Mark Ludwig knocks down the 3. It's a 3-point game again. That's the 7th 3 of the game for the College of William & Mary, who averaged almost 9 per game last year. 8th best in the country. Jardine airballs the answer. They battle for the rebound, and they're going to call the foul against the College of William & Mary. When McDowell picks up his second. So 6 minutes into the second half, the Orange again find themselves in a dogfight. Last 5 points scored by the Tribe. First team foul against William & Mary. Joseph almost lost it. Jardine draws the little body check foul from Matt Rum. So 2 quick fouls picked up by the Tribe. William & Mary lost their first 2 games by 24 points each. They're hanging right in there with the 11th ranked team in the country. Kita looking for somebody. Lots of contact out there. Over and back going to be called against Syracuse. And again, William & Mary will have a chance to tie it up.
That was a good no call there. I know there's a lot of contact, but both players just going for the ball.
Almost as much contact as the last night's football game. That was physical too. They had 10 threes in their first 2 games and 7 tonight as Jackson blocks it from behind. He touched it last though, so it'll stay with the Tribe. Rick Jackson now had 8 blocks in his first 3 games. 10th on the all-time list at Syracuse. Picks up the swat there. 6-0 in favor of the Orange in that category. Bodner faked the pass, took the 3, missed it. Jackson taps the rebound to himself. 3 on 3. Chris Jackson, front rim, a little tentative on the shot. Now William and Mary 3-on-2. Rum high off the glass. Kitts tried to follow. Here we go the other way. Joseph banks it home.
Good job just taking it right to the basket, forces the defense to back off, and Joseph well above the rim. Nice finish.
The kind of game the Orange would love to play, back and forth. Finally, Joseph with the finish. Ludwig popped out. Jackson knocked it out of bounds. He tried to find McDowell in the corner. Ken Brown back in off the bench, replacing Matt Rum. It's been a nice spark for William and Mary. Ludwig threw it out of bounds. Looking for McDowell on the baseline, I believe.
Yeah, kind of forcing the issue there. Not a simple pass by any means.
Jackson, little left-hander, just leaving that short all day long. Now Rick, one of the all-time great field goal percentage guys at Syracuse. Oh!
Wow.
Oh, man.
Easily 6 feet behind that line.
And even Quinn had to smile there. The mighty Quinn with his 4-3, his 5th field goal. He's got 13 now to lead all scorers. 14.
How did he fly under the radar in the scouting? Wow.
McDowell out of Archbishop Moeller High School, a great high school football powerhouse. I guess they could play some basketball there as well. Quinn McDowell, you can't leave him alone from anywhere. He's got the Tribe within 2.
Unfinished biz, let the truth be known. When we need to step up, look to Mookie Jones, beat Trish Diamond. Let's go be shown, get it done, cause we run with the 2-3 zone. If you make it to the hoop, then it's Jackson with the block. You could take a second chance, Riley hits you with the swap. Really care if you think you're swishing it or not. Shut it down was the theme, now we own.
That's today's Drivers Village game break. Visit driversvillage.com today. And the song Unfinished Business, the unofficial anthem of this year's Orange basketball team. Executive produced by assistant coach Rob Murphy. And you can get that at iTunes.com. Also go to jimbeheim.com. Also selling t-shirts all over the place. And all the benefits go to the foundation as Kitts tips it in, and we are tied again. Second tie in the second half.
You get caught watching the shooter and you forget about finding a body to seal.
A little 10-2 run by the College of William and Mary after falling behind by 8. They just will not let Syracuse get away. Deep 3 for Scoop. Followed by Joseph. The ball ping-pongs up in the air. And he is fouled on the play, so Chris to the line. Boy, that ball shot about 25 feet in the air after the follow attempt.
Deep 3 for Scoop, but Joseph goes hard and undercut a bit there. Luckily, he's not shaken up.
Like watching fireworks there.
Yeah.
Everyone's looking up. Rims out the free throw attempt. Orange have missed 4 of those this afternoon. One out of 2 for Chris. He's got 12 points to lead the Orange. 2 in double figures for the College of William and Mary. McDowell with 14 and Kitts with 12, along with 6 rebounds.
You told me with 10:45 left in the game that the rebounding totals would be dead even. I would have told you you're nuts. But
how about telling you the Tribe would have a chance to take the lead at that point in the game?
Again, I would call you nuts.
Lost by 24 at the University of Richmond and at UVA to open the season. Great backdoor cut, but even better defense. Kita active in the middle of that zone. Now Waiters will kick it out and get it back in the corner, wide open. Offensive rebound. Jackson threw it off the top of the backboard and missed from point-blank range. Now McDowell the other way. Reverse. Did not go, but the foul will give Quinn 2 free throws with a chance to take the lead with under 10 minutes to play.
See it right in transition. He takes it hard and he draws. The contact goes right at the shot blocker. If you know a shot blocker's waiting for you, you better go right at him and be able to body up and back him off, and that's what he did there.
Coach Shaver calls Quinn McDowell one of the best leaders he's ever been around. A real toughness about him, says he knows how to play the game. And he has certainly made some timely shots. 4 threes, a couple of them from beyond NBA range. He's got the free throw to tie. He's got 15 now for the game, and this one for the lead. 80% foul shooter last year, 80% plus. Nothing but net. And the College of William & Mary has its first lead of the afternoon with under 10 minutes to go. Jardine off the screen. Battled for, and last touch by Matt Rum, I believe. It'll stay with Syracuse. Dion Waiters, the only freshman on the floor. The Orange going a little bit small here with Jackson playing the center position. We'll get a foul called on Quinn McDowell. That is his 3rd.
That's a big foul. He's the leader of this team.
The last foul was on number 4, Matt Rum.
Oh, they're going to give it to Matt Rum. Well, that's a big break. That is his 3rd, though. As Joseph goes inside and got the roll. Chris Joseph taking it to the basket for the lead. He wants to be that guy when they need a bucket that they turn to. And that was a big one for Chris. And now the crowd getting into it here at the Carrier Dome. Syracuse 25-1 here in the non-conference season the last 2 years. Stolen by Waiters to the basket and the stuff.
Great individual effort there. Create that steal, and then it's a foot race. I don't think there's anyone in this building that's going to win that one against Waiters.
Loudest the crowd has been by far this afternoon as Tony Shaver calls time to give him the chance to cool off. Dion Waiters has a lot of confidence in himself. And here's part of the reason why.
Yeah, he's able just to go around the back and just strip that ball cleanly. And I called it a foot race. It's really not a race. He just blows away. And obviously a highlight dunk for the fans to get this crowd fired up.
Waiters has 9 points off the bench. The number 2 ranked shooting guard in the class of 2010. 15th overall prospect coming out of high school. And one of the jewels of that incoming class, Dion. After a tough night against Detroit, coming right back here with 9 big points off the bench for Syracuse. And now the lead at 3, so William & Mary still a chance to pull even on this trip. 25-1 in the non-conference last 2 years. Fouled inside Marcus Kitts. 28-1 if you include this season. And you remember that one, right? The one loss? Cleveland State.
They do attack well from the corner. They've been able to get into that post almost at will, and that's a great job of taking it to the basket, guaranteeing yourself a chance at the free throw line.
Kitts, the one who airballed the free throw moments ago, a 36% foul shooter this year. And Coach Shaver able to smile about that. That's more like it. See if he can make 2, he said, and he did. The lead back to 1. The Tribe not going anywhere. Joseph wants it. Matt Rum rebounded it, and a chance to retake the lead on this trip. 8.5 minutes to play. Well, Jim Boeheim likes to test his team in the non-conference season. I don't know if he anticipated this tough a test from this team. His guys didn't. They didn't seem to before the game. You mentioned, Danny, they seem to be pretty loose, unusually so, right before tip-off. That's off Syracuse, I believe, last touched. But the shot clock ran out, and it did not touch the rim, so it'll belong to the Orange. Up by 1 with just under 8 minutes to go. A non-conference nail-biter at the Carrier Dome.
Time Warner Cable Sports coverage of Syracuse University basketball is sponsored by Northside Collision Centers. By your local Nationwide insurance agents. Nationwide is on your side. By FX Caprera Chevrolet Buick in Pulaski. Visit fxchevy.com. And by Surgical Services at Krause Hospital. Your care in our hands.
Smoke and mirrors at the Carrier Dome. The Orange leading in steals, assists, fewer turnovers, leading in just about every single statistic with the exception of rebounding by 1, and yet they only lead by 1, make it 3. Rick Jackson with his 99th career flush, and the Orange extending the lead just a little bit. Defense has been the bigger problem here in the second half. Ludwig left wide open, knocks it down, and we're tied again.
That was a huge possession. I was about to say, if they don't get a bucket here, Syracuse, you can see the confidence starting to build. That 3, absolutely huge.
Tied for the 3rd time in this half. William and Mary has also led by 1. Syracuse is led by as many as 11 in this game, but have not gotten away from this Colonial Athletic Association team out of Williamsburg, Virginia. Tiny little school, 7,600 enrollment. I thought the most interesting thing about this game was the history of their opponents. The College of William and Mary, founded in 1693, the second oldest college in America behind Harvard. But they made this game quite a bit more interesting than that. Oh, Banks at home. Julian Boatner grinning ear to ear. The freshman from the Hoosier State, giving William and Mary its largest lead now at 2 with 6:33 to go. Timeout, Jim Boeheim.
Most banks aren't open on Sunday, but that perhaps one of the larger deposits of the game.
Well, Syracuse basketball tonight, and high school football coming your way in full force this weekend. Good way to digest the turkey. 5 live football games, state championships, right here on Time Warner Cable Sports. It all starts Friday and continues on Sunday with 3 games. I'll hand out the state titles. So Syracuse finding itself trailing by 2 now. First 3 games of the year, they've gone through some sluggish first halves, come out and really put the pedal down in the second half and pulled away. Now this is what he said after they beat Canisius by 19. He called his team the most overrated team he's ever had, and that they've got a long ways to go, and certainly has proven to be right, at least so far in this game. This is a team that most expected them to dominate flat out, coach included. That is the 4th foul on Matt Rum, who's been a big spark. Rick Jackson to the free throw line for 2. Rick has had a hard time inside. 4 for 10 from the floor. perfect 2 for 2 from the stripe. 10 points, 9 rebounds, nearing his 10th career double-double.
Hasn't looked confident when he catches the ball in the paint. He's left a lot of things short. Typically very effective around the basket. It's not as if he has a shot blocker to challenge him.
One out of 2. Syracuse at 36% from the field in this game. They were 34% at halftime, so they have not gone up much since, despite a pretty nice spurt to start out that second half. William and Mary, though, weather that storm, and they've still got a 1-point lead with a chance to build on it and also work some of that clock down. Under 6 minutes now. They play catch out top. 3 on the way. They say he stepped out of bounds.
Yeah.
Wow. It went in. It doesn't count. John Mark Ludwig on the catch. Apparently stepped on the sideline. Take a look here.
Yeah, he's out of bounds on the catch.
That was pretty deep. If you're standing out of bounds. So the Orange now a chance to go back on top, but it's thrown right through the hands of Brandon Trish. Coach Boeheim says, calm down, everybody.
Yeah, they've got a lot of answers to find in that half-court offense. They've struggled big time.
Well, no freshman on the floor right now. Jim Boeheim going to the veterans late in this one. Oh, there's a freshman, Julian Bodner from the corner. That's his 3rd 3 of the game. And the College of William and Mary with its largest lead at 4. We go under 5 minutes at the Carrier Dome. Deep 3, scoop, rattles it home. Big shot for Jardine.
So no hesitation. I like it. He's a gutsy kid. Knows his team needs a lift. Scoop's the one to do it.
And a guy who has not been shooting well to this point knocks down the biggest shot so far for Syracuse. Pulling back within 1 as they chase the Tribe around the perimeter. McDowell drives inside and he's fouled by Rick Jackson. That's his 3rd. Scoop just 3 for 13 from the field, but all 3 shots have been from outside the arc.
The good news is neither team, Syracuse, they're not in the bonus. I mean, this late in the game, neither team shooting 1-1. So a lot of good free throw shooters on that William and Mary team.
Julian Bodner, the freshman from Indiana, running the point now for the Tribe, who won 2 games at ACC arenas last year in their first trip to the Carrier Dome. They're going to pull off the big upset in the Big East. Floater off glass, no. Rebounded by Kita.
Tough shot. Syracuse, good job clearing the rebound.
Jardine will take another for the lead.
Don't like that shot in that situation.
You and Jim Boeheim are in the same club there. McDowell tries to go inside. Blocking foul called by Musa Kita, picks up his 2nd. That is the 6th team foul, so the next one will bring free throws. Timeout on the floor. Orange in trouble.
Time Warner Cable Sports coverage of Syracuse University basketball is sponsored by McDonald's. I'm loving it. By the Carbone Auto Group, with you every step of the way. By Herb Phillipson's, outfitters for the great outdoors. And by Community General Hospital, the #1 ranked hospital in New York for orthopedics. SU Basketball and Community General Hospital, the best keeps getting better.
Maybe it has something to do with the colors, green and gold. Last year, Lemoyne Green and gold, one here at the Carrier Dome. 2 years ago, Cleveland State wearing the color green. 72-69 winners here on that three-quarter court shot. That Cleveland State lost, the only non-conference loss in the last 2+ seasons for Jim Boeheim's club. 28-1 on their home court here. But Syracuse has just picked up its 7th team foul.
Vermont in the tournament.
Vermont, there's another team with green. I think there's something to this. Give William and Mary a ton of credit.
Yeah.
They have had several opportunities to just kind of fold up the shop and say, well, this was a fun trip. Come up to Syracuse and complete. They're down by 11, down by 10 a couple of times, and down by 8 in this half. They come back to take the 2-point lead and a big offensive rebound with 3.5 to go. They are still out rebounding Syracuse.
Got to go get the shooter. That's a fundamental play.
Matt Rum has made a lot of huge plays in this game for the College of William and Mary. To date, their biggest claim to fame, the alma mater of Thomas Jefferson, among other U.S. presidents. George Washington got a certificate from there. Boy, wouldn't this be something for the resume? Marcus Kitts throws it down, and it's a 4-point lead with 3 to go.
Kitts is really good at flashing in the lane. He gets the defense, their back to turn. They don't see the ball in man, and he just flashes and gets up quickly.
Kitts, 16 points, 8 rebounds. Frisch, front rim, no. And a foul going to be called on the loose ball against the Tribe. That is their 6th team foul. Out of bounds to Syracuse. Marcus Kitts picks up his 2nd. So Kitts and McDowell with 16 apiece to lead the Tribe. Joseph with 14 leads Syracuse on 4 of 11 shooting. Jardine, 3 of 14. Make it 15, but he got it back and banked it home. Scoop wants the ball, wants the shot, and he followed it. The old fundamental follow your shot, put it back. 2-point game, 2.5 to go. Boatner threw it away. Freshman mistake. Jardine. Bounce Joseph. They were tied.
Great bounce pass. Good push with the dribble. They didn't force it. He lets the defense commit. Waits for Joseph to come and trail. Good pass there.
Everybody on their feet at the Carrier Dome. Timeout. Tony Shaver. The Orange have scored the last 4 to tie it up with just under 2 minutes to go. And I think most of the people that came to the Carrier Dome were just kind of expecting a nice, lazy Sunday afternoon. It's been anything but.
Here's Jardine. You see, he occupies 2 players, and Joseph paces himself well, takes that bounce pass, easy finish.
Scoop tying his career high with his 9th assist. The Orange, during his career, 21-3 when he has 5 or more assists. And Scoop has almost doubled that. 11 points, 9 assists for Jardine. 11 points, 10 rebounds for Rick Jackson. His 10th career double-double. But right now, the numbers they're most concerned about are 60-60. Syracuse 32 points in the first half. And a team that had been averaging close to 50 in the second half has only scored 28 to this point.
Syracuse versus Boston College at 12 noon.
Well, that last non-conference loss to Cleveland State I've mentioned a couple times. Another similarity, the Orange were also ranked 11th at that time. Eerie how things kind of come around again. Not over yet. That was December of 2008.
Odds of a 3-quarter court shot going in again, pretty slim.
I'm getting ready just in case, though. All right, it's Joseph, Jackson, and Keita down low with Christian Jardine out top. Fab Mello, the only starter absent. Kitts almost lost it. Got it back. 10 to shoot. Great college basketball game. Rum, free throw line. Tapped around, Kitts has it. Shot clock, no.
Got him on
What's
the
the
arm.
call? Foul call.
Yep, grabbed him on the arm. Good call. Now we're shooting from this
And
point forward.
Yeah, that's the 17th foul. That's even worse for William and Mary.
Oh, it's right there. Yeah, you had a whole bunch of Musakita's left arm right there.
Kitts fouls Kita by Musakita. 3 of 8 at the free throw line in the first 3 games.
How about that
Knocks
stroke?
down the front end.
Who thought this early on in his career he'd have huge free throws? He's got a really nice touch.
He wasn't even expected to play this year. It was going to be Fab Mello and Deshante Riley, but Riley broke his foot, had to have surgery, so Kita inserted as Fab Melo's backup, and he might win that starting job before he's done. He's been out there most of the second half for his defensive ability. He's given the Orange a slim 1-point lead with just over a minute to play. McDowell to Kitts. Bowls over Joseph. Bodies on the floor. Ball's out of bounds to Syracuse.
They dodge a bullet big time there. A couple of players tangled up. Ludwig and Kitts going for that loose ball.
It looked like the play was developing. Kitts had the layup, but he was a little too strong with it. And the ball went out of bounds to the Orange. So now with a minute to go, Syracuse will be looking to run some shot clock here before they launch one. First the timeout called by Jim Boeheim. Well, he hasn't risen to 5th on the all-time wins list for nothing. He's been in more than a few games like this. Let's see what he has in mind here for the Orange biggest possession of the game. Again, more Legends Classic basketball coming your way on Thanksgiving weekend from Atlantic City. All the games right here on Time Warner Cable Sports. It all starts at 5:30 Friday night. The Orange play the late game Friday, and should they win, would play the late game again on Saturday against either Georgia Tech or UTEP. So great college basketball coming your way on Time Warner Cable Sports this weekend. And then we've also got the next home game, which will be the 30th. That's next Tuesday, or a week from Tuesday, I should say, against the Big Red of Cornell.
You see Joseph working the official here on that last call, looking for an offensive foul. But states his case.
Well, he went for the flop. It wasn't called. And now the biggest possession of the Orange season. 1-point lead. Chris passes it up. Too much time on the clock yet. Now 10 to shoot. Jardine takes it from deep. Offensive rebound, but a push-off called on Jackson. That's his 4th.
Well, Scoop's jump shot certainly has come a long way, but I think that one's just a touch out of his range.
Jardine now 4 of 16 from the floor. You like his confidence and his aggressiveness, but the shot selection are not what Coach Boeheim would like. And now a 1-and-1 for Marcus Kitts, who airballed a free throw earlier in the half. That one caught the back of the back rim, and now the Orange with the shot clock off can just try to run it out. They foul Joseph and send Chris to the line for a 1-and-1. Joseph, maybe the best free throw shooter other than Jardine out there. 6 of 7 from the free throw line today. He was 19 of 26 for the season. Big one here. The junior from Montreal. You want to be the go-to guy? You have to make these. He's got the first. Did not get the second. William and Mary can tie or take the lead or win it. Tony Shaver wants time. 16.1 seconds. Had time to work those fingernails. Well, the question is, Dan, who's going to shoot it? He's got almost every guy on the floor can shoot the three, and I think if you're him, you go for that three in the win.
I don't disagree. The last 8-9 minutes, Syracuse has done a good job keeping the ball out of McDowell's hands. He's obviously the primary threat, and you've got a guy in Rum who can shoot it as well. They'd love to get it to McDowell. Syracuse, again, has done a great job shoring up the defense. Yeah, you'd like to take the shot and not allow Syracuse to come down and get any looks.
But John Mark Ludwig is considered their best shooter, and actually Coach Shaver told me the other day, if I had one shot to win a national championship, I'd want John Mark Ludwig to take it. So let's see if this is equivalent to the national championship to Coach Shaver and he gets it into Ludwig's hands. There's three-point shooting today. The Tribe 10 in their first 2 games, 10 more at the Carrier Dome, and close to 50%. Here we go. Ten seconds left. Out of bounds. McDowell put the foot back and apparently stepped on the sideline. On the dribble drive there. Critical turnover. The 20th turnover of the game. Despite those 20 turnovers, here they are just 2 down. And now the Tribe will have to foul. They got Joseph again. So Chris back to the line with another 1-and-1. The 9th team foul. So again, the front end so important here for Joseph, who is 7 of 9 from the stripe. 17 points, a game high. They go with 6 rebounds and 4 assists. Joseph went 1 of 2 just moments ago. You work on those for countless hours every day in practice for just this type of situation. One out of 2. Rebounded by the Tribe, but turned back over. Kita's got it. He'll take the shot, and time runs out, fortunately, for Bai. The Orange will win by 3. A game that came down to the final possession. A game effort by the College of William and Mary, who pushed the 11th ranked team in the country to the wire before finally succumbing. 63-60, the final score from the Carrier Dome as the Orange improved to 4-0, and the Tribe fall to 0-3. Who will be our player of the game? Find out when we come back.